Tonight on Life on the Rock, we have Peter Gravelle. We'll hear a reflection and much more. Welcome to Life on the Rock. Tonight our guest is Peter Gravelle. He is from the Madonna House up in Carpenter, Canada. It's about over 3 hours north of Toronto. I'm really excited to have him here. I spent a month with them a couple years ago, and it was a powerful experience. We caught up with him at the Focus conference, and he's going to share exactly what is Madonna House.
We're now going to a reflection from Seek.
Hi everyone, my name is Kelly and I serve as a missionary with Focus. And when I was going into college, I was on the cusp of my faith, and I didn't know if it was possible to be Catholic in college or even worth it. And my first week on campus, I met the Focus missionaries. I joined a Focus Bible study, and it completely changed my life. The women in it are still my best friends to this day. It was through this Bible study that I learned how to pray and I started going to Mass on Sundays, and I began to truly live a life of discipleship. And it wasn't that I was, started becoming just a good person. My life was always like, being Catholic is about following the rules. But what being Catholic is, authentically Catholic, is being fully alive. And praise be to God, Focus helped me come to discover this. And as I was a student at Maryland, I was studying engineering, and the Lord invited me, just this growing attraction in my heart, to give more of myself to Him as a missionary with Focus. So I said yes, and I've been serving for 4 years, and it has been an incredible experience, growing closer to Him and bringing so many other women to come to know Him.
Peter Gravelle, welcome to Life on the Rock.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm excited to do this interview because you are a member of Madonna House. You've been there 35 years. And first we need to talk and say, what is Madonna House?
Yes. That's a very good question. It's really hard to answer. We are a group of lay people who are consecrated. Small C consecration. We take promises, not vows, of poverty, chastity, and obedience. And we try to live that out in a very tight-knit community. We live very closely together. Just a lot of people say that it's not going to work. Men and women living celibate lives in a close proximity of one another. But it does, strangely.
So you'll have smaller houses in different countries and in America and things, and in Carpenter in Ontario, Canada, you have your largest kind of mother house. It's about 120 members.
Yeah, there are 120 members there in Carpenter. At our training center, where people come and visit us and stay with us, there is probably about 70 members, and at a house just a half mile down the road, there's another 50.
And you all, you live a real life of poverty and simplicity and sharing. I mean, oftentimes there's rooms that are shared with one another, and you have a donation center that people, a long history of people in the area, I guess, that even all as far down as Toronto, right, is bringing their clothes and leaving clothes, and you all wear those clothes, give them to the poor. And so it's very much relying on providence. So we should say it's about 3 hours north of Toronto?
We're about 3.5 hours north of Toronto, 2.5 hours west of Ottawa.
Yeah, beautiful area. I don't know if you call that the North Woods, but
the Northern Woods.
Woods, and it's on a river. There's a dam there. And, it's beautiful boating, kayaking stuff that takes place there. But just a really scenic, peaceful place. I got to go up there a few years ago and spend about a month, and had a great experience. And And I think that's one of the great apostolates you all do is you have a guest program. People can come and stay. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so our guest program is that we invite people to come and share our lives. People can come for a week up to a year and live with us, so we open our hearts, we open our lives to them. They are invited to live the same way we do. They're not bound by our promises, but we ask them to live those promises. And during that time, they will pray with us, eat with us, recreate with us, just share our life, totally.
Yeah. And I seemed like a lot of time in your, like we call it a refectory in religious life, but the eating area, you have picnic benches that has like 6 people and these wooden benches, but it has a wonderful way of fostering conversation. Yeah. You can't really hide when you're sitting at a table like that. And if you're sullen and silent, you'll stick out like a sore thumb. But I found it just a beautiful experience. There's a lot of women there, and their presence has a way, because I saw it repeatedly, like people may be struggling with something, they're wounded, they come in, they want to make a retreat or a break, and they can receive some healing. You must have a lot of stories along those lines.
Oh, yes, yeah. It's amazing, how to watch these young people come in and they're all caved in on themselves.
Yeah.
And then a month later, they're standing straight up. I remember one father coming in and saying, "What did you do to my son?" He left a boy and he came home a man.
Yeah.
It just gives people a chance to, just to break open their heart.
Right.
There's a milieu where they know they're loved.
Yeah.
And they can be vulnerable for the first time in their life.
Right.
And experience God loving them, other people loving them, in a chaste way.
Right. Cell phones are highly discouraged. If prohibited, I don't know, but you have farming that's done there. You have I call it logging, I guess, but firewood chopping and so there's all kinds of work. You can make maple syrups at the right time of year, and that was a wonderful thing to see. I remember the image of this kind of old, tough, kind of beat up pickup truck and all these guys in the back going off to pick apples or something, and they come back laughing. And this great camaraderie. And I think for men especially, like to get together, there's just a natural sense of humor. And like in the kitchen, we would do the vegetables prep and stuff, and just a place filled with laughter and just fellowship. Yeah. And I saw that repeatedly. Is there another case maybe that stands out for you?
There's so many, they all start blending into one another, but
well, let me say this while you think about that. I was looking for a place to take a little break. I was the superior of the community for a while, and I said, I need a little sabbatical. And I was looking online at Madonna House. I'd heard great things about it, and it was so Marian. Yes. And I remember one of the priests had a video, and he was talking about Mary. I said, that's it. That's the place. And I thought, just the name Madonna House, you sense a presence of Mary there. And I think the women express it beautifully. And we should talk about maybe the foundress now, because Catherine Doherty was known as a woman of the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, powerful. But the Spirit comes with Our Lady and through Our Lady, doesn't it?
Yeah. And, one of our great features is we have a real devotion to Our Lady of Combermere. It's, Catherine's Russian tradition. She would pray to Our Lady under a local title. And so when she was working in Haarlem, she was praying to Our Lady of Haarlem. And then when she came to Combermere, she prayed to Our Lady of Combermere. And early on, a woman went home and continued to pray for that and received a tremendous grace and wrote back to Catherine saying, I want to donate money and raise money towards a statue under a title of Our Lady of Combermere because of this grace. Right. And Catherine knew that you just can't do that. And so she wrote back and said, no, we're going to work this out. And but she worked she wrote to the bishop and asked him if something could be done. And the bishop wrote back and said, I'm going to send your request on to Rome, but don't expect an answer for 20 years. You know, Rome works that way. And 2 months later, we get a letter saying, yes, you've been approved of this.
Yeah.
You know, and so we got so then Catherine started looking for what statue, what does Our Lady of Carpenter look like? And they found a statue by an artist in the United States. And they wrote to her saying, you know, we love your statue, but it's cold up here, so her cape needs to be longer and her veil fuller. And can you do it for cost?
Yeah.
And the artist wrote back and said, you know what, that's always bothered me. Yes, her cape needs to be longer. And of course I can do it for cost. But I do only the best work, so the cost may be expensive. And so we started raising money, and we have this beautiful statue of Our Lady of Cumbermere now. And she looks after, she's our mother. And she's a place where miracles happen. Right. You know, nothing dramatic, but you know, there's one woman who had young children, and she has diagnosed with cancer, with terminal cancer, and they went there to pray, and she went to remission, and she saw her children grow up, and then when her children had children, her grandchildren, her cancer returned. And she came back to Our Lady of Cumbermere and prayed there to see her grandchildren grow up. And she did. Oh, wow. You know, and just and small things, you know. One tour, we're giving tours, and one of our staff workers was giving this tour, and there was this wall of disbelief and rejection of God, and with one of the people giving on the tour, and she was just in exasperation, lifted her arms up like this, what can I do? And a bird landed on her finger. Oh, really? and the man's heart was just melted, totally.
Y'all do have the big, beautiful blue jays there, the biggest ones I've ever seen in my life. But you know, I liked about the statue is that, you know, she's kind of running towards the person, and to me, it's an image like of the visitation, but as a mother coming after us, and also the prayer that Catherine Doherty wrote, I thought, to Our Lady of Cumbermere was, there's one line where she says, "Give us strength for another day." There's some line I think towards the end. At least some prayer I saw that she wrote, and I was so struck by that because I said, Catherine Doherty is a very strong woman, you know, and she's praying for strength. And it was a consolation for me that we need to depend on God for strength, and Our Lady helps us in that strength. Now you've been in charge of the spiritual formation of men entering the community. What are some of the aspects of the charism that you emphasize for them?
So we talk about, you know, our promises, promises of poverty, chastity, and obedience, and how we as lay people live them out. So our poverty it's not the Franciscan poverty, and nor is it the Benedictine poverty. The two standards. But Catherine, in her struggle and her wisdom with it, brought forth a sense of poverty for lay people. So we need to have physical responsibility as lay people. So we're allowed to have bank accounts. And some of those bank accounts can be large, some of them can be small. But we can't spend a cent without permission. We can't add to that without permission. And so it's a poverty of usage, but responsibility.
And what about like having the men and women together? I think about the celibacy, the chastity part. That brings a certain vitality, right, together?
Yes. You know, it's one psychologist priest who comes and says, you know, this shouldn't work. And really, and people look at us and say it's a great experiment, but it's never going to work. But it does. You know, there's something about men and women living closely and being celibate closely together.
Right.
You know, and complementing each other.
Yeah.
It's like the closeness diffuses some of this, the tension within celibacy.
Right.
You know, it's in some places it's like women are, you can't go near them. You know, but here they're sitting across the table from you.
Right.
And so you see them as sisters.
Yeah.
And respect them as sisters.
Yeah.
You know, and so you're challenged on a daily basis not to objectify.
Right.
And so in that, you grow quickly in your commitment to celibacy can grow quickly in that way.
Yeah. What are some of the things about Catherine Doherty that you most admired or that drew you to the community?
Oh, the broadness of her vision. You know, she would say nothing is foreign to the apostolate except for sin. And so, we have no real mission, as people call it, you know, and so we're not teachers. We're not, we're not healers. You don't run hospitals. We don't do any one specific thing. We can do anything.
Right.
And so that's what really brought me. So I can find my holiness working as a carpenter.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. You know, I love hard work. And to be able to find true holiness doing whatever you're doing, that was such a brilliant thing that Catherine brought us.
Yeah. And you've developed a skill of silversmithing?
So I came to Madonna House as a silversmith.
Oh, okay.
I had done silversmithing before. And early on in my stay, the head carpenter came to the guest dorm and said, "Can anyone use a hammer?" And I laughed. I lived with the hammer in my hand, right? And so I put my hand up, and he said, "Fine, tomorrow you're a carpenter." And I said, "No, I'm a silversmith. Wrong hammer." He said, "Doesn't matter." And since that day, I've been working as a carpenter, you know, and now I just finished a major renovation of all our buildings at Madonna House.
Oh, wow.
Overseeing the construction, you know, going in from the drawings, although they're working with the architect, getting the drawings, the floor plan set, going through all the process of getting permits and the digging of the hole and getting contractors and actually doing the work, all the way from the digging the first hole to putting the last bit of paint on the drywall.
Yeah. What's something that fills you with gratitude when you think of your life there?
Oh, just so much. Well, salvation. It's given me a pathway to salvation. I'm just so grateful for that, because I know if I wasn't there, I'd be lost.
Yeah.
I I don't even know if I'd be Catholic if I left Madonna House after a month.
Yeah.
You know, but but it's there. It gives me the strength to remain as a Catholic. You know, people come and say, "You must be a really strong Catholic to be there." I said, no, you're the strong Catholic. If you can remain Catholic out in the world, I'm just a weak person. And Catherine showed us that there's salvation for the weak.
Yeah.
You know, and in that there's hope.
Right. And there is a group of priests. You all have a priest.
So some of the men in Madonna House are priests.
Yeah.
Some of them have come as priests.
Right.
And some of them have come through being a layman and being sent to the seminary by Madonna House and then ordained for Madonna House.
Yeah. So you have that spiritual guidance there, and from your brothers and sisters as well. So there's a lot of great input. We just have like a minute left. Can you tell us something about Pustinia? That's one of the most famous aspects.
One of the things that Catherine is really famous for, her book Pustinia, which was published 50 years ago last year. And it's a place where you can go and pray and spend time with God.
Yeah.
You know, stepping away, whether in Cumbermere we have log cabins, in Washington we have rooms inside a house where you can go for 24 hours with bread, water, and the Bible, and be there with the Lord.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
not alone, but in solitude with Him.
Yeah, in the Canadian woods.
Yeah, Canadian wilderness or in the wilds of DC.
Oh, right. Well, Peter, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Well, Brother John, what did you think of the interview?
I thought it was great, yeah. And I always like just that sense of community, of fraternity, of even how he just kind of pointed out, even during their times of meals, just coming together and laughing and just kind of sharing life.
Right, it's a simple life, you know, in many ways an austere life. They work hard up there, and they also have like a full dairy farm, and you know, I forgot how many cows they have, but you know, big gardens and lots of work to be done.
Isn't one of the things apple cider?
Yeah, I was there for an apple cider.
I remember the video you were showing us.
Yeah, we picked a bunch of apples and then crushed them in the cider stuff. It was really a great experience in so many ways, and yeah, the friendship, the fellowship, I really loved. And you meet, and like the visitors too. When I was there, they had like a number. I mean, probably had like 20 visitors, and they all have their own stories.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of great communication, a lot of stories, and prayerful at the same time. And the witness of Catherine Doherty, her life was just so full, and her teachings were just so strong and deep. You know, it was lots of food for thought. So I just found it a great place to go for a break, to be renewed, you know, to connect with some people.
And that was right after you were a community servant for 6 years.
Right. Yeah. I remember reading one time that Thomas Merton had said, hearing Catherine Doherty give a talk was like being thrown down a flight of stairs. That she could shake you up, right? We can get into our kind of thinking, our categories, and maybe a middle class type lifestyle, and you know, values and things like that, and forget the radical call of the gospel. I mean, even if you're, and they also have like a summer camp for families to come and with their children, but to give ourselves in our vocations, whatever they are, you know, that call is a radical call to give of yourself, have sacrificial love. And so she just touched so many people. And they have much smaller houses, you know, across the world. In DC, not far from our news office, they have a few people living there. And so like someone could go and make a pustinia there. They could spend a few days maybe in solitude and silence and really pray and be renewed.
That's nice. And also just even that challenge to kind of detox from technology.
Yeah.
I think that's a big one, and to really kind of embrace that. I think there's a rewarding aspect to that, but just to make that commitment to, you know, kind of give it up or put it away, you know, that can be tough in today's world.
I know. When I was there, I wanted to interview everybody. I wanted to take pictures, to take videos, and I stayed away from it. You know, just respected their wishes, their privacy, and stuff like that. But you know, it was very much a lively conversation. You know, when you were there, so it's not like this disconnect where everybody becomes dull, but they become more present to you and more full of life. Well, may our Heavenly Father shine His face upon you. May He give you His peace. May He fill you with His Holy Spirit. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. We'll see you next week on Life on the Rock.
Yeah, we're gonna walk down to the Jordan. We're gonna walk down to the Jordan. We're gonna walk down to the Jordan just like Jesus did. Just like Jesus did. Well, surprise, surprise, I fell again. And it's even worse this time. 'Cause now I know I'm missing out on that sweet cane of wine. Well, I'm done with lying to myself, 'cause I know the fault is mine. Well, I wanna get washed in the water and leave my sin behind. We're gonna walk down to the Jordan. We're gonna walk down to the Jordan. We're gonna walk down to the Jordan just Jesus.